love, life, and lunatics. The pretty lies, the ugly truth I'm sick with. Love, life, and lunatics. So crazy but can't get enough of it.
Welcome to Love, Life, and Lunatics, a podcast where I share personal stories about my life, my loves, and some crazy situations that I unfortunately got myself into. Sometimes I'll have a guest who will also share a story or two about a time that changed their life or had a hand in making them who they are today. So, hang out with me for a little while and enjoy Love, Life, and Lunatics. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Love, Life, and Lunatics. Thanks for joining me. Let's see. Right now I'm standing in my booth. It's about 4:30 p.m. And I'm happy to be standing in my booth without my daughter. Oh my goodness, when I tell you, she has moved into my vocal booth. She loves being in here by herself. She loves to play with her toys in here. She dances in here. Just dance parties in here. Of course she sings in here. She's seen me sing in here so many times. So I have a microphone on the floor, one that doesn't work. So it's on the floor in the corner. And I heard her singing. She was singing Christmas carols loudly. And I can hear she has the Christmas music playing. And so I open the door and she's standing in front of the mic that doesn't work, because all my other mics are higher up. So the mic that doesn't work, and she's like, "Jingle bells, jingle bells." I mean, it is so funny. But she is going to town. She loves this vocal booth. She calls it her room. However, there's foam in my entire booth, noise absorption. I built this booth on my own with my own two hands. And the most expensive thing in this booth is the foam. It's 4 inches thick, and it's the highest one that they had for noise absorption, as I live next to a freeway. So you will always hear some type of random trucks or whatever going on outside. And I'm in my bedroom, so it's close to the window in the living room, which is the next room over. Anyway, you can hear it. And then there's also helicopters sometimes, or planes that go, because I'm also next to the airport. So I need a lot of noise absorption. So I say all that to say, I had my entire booth padded. Gianna likes the texture. She likes the feel of the foam. And since she just decided that she wants to be in here, she took one of the panels, the foam panels, off and decided that's where she was going to sit and think. And, if she wanted to just relax, she's going to sit on that, which I was like, no. So I've had to put it back up, and, she still snatches it down. That's probably the only down thing about her being in my booth, because she wants to rearrange it to where it suits and fits her own needs. But it's so funny how, because I'll go in here and lay something down real quick, and then I'll step out. And since she was a tiny baby, I've always had her in this booth with me if I'm working or singing. And since she was a tiny baby, she just knows that this is another spot. It's the most quiet place. She does like the quiet, but it did make my heart happy to see her singing into the little microphone. That made my heart happy. So, this episode is called Protect the Family. There was always music in my house. On any given day, my mother would be singing a song with my father backing her up on his guitar. My sisters and I were always singing, dancing, and playing instruments right along with them. My parents met in a band. My family loves music. That was the common bond that connected us all. My parents were passionate. They were very playful with each other as well as with us. They would cook together, chase each other around the house giggling. They would decorate the house for the holidays and make us feel so very special on our birthdays. We could feel the love that they had for us, as well as the love that they had for each other. They would also argue, passionately. My mother has always been a fierce woman. Right or wrong, she's always made it clear that she would fight to protect herself and her family. My father was quiet, but my father's eyes spoke 1,000 words. He was slower to anger, but once he was there, it took him a while to come out of it. As a child, I loved my parents so much. Besides the arguing, I loved our life. But soon the arguing became more frequent. One day, my mother took my sisters and I to a pizza place. The 4 of us sat 2 in each booth, and we happily waited for our pizza. Once the pizza came to the table, my mother began to talk to us. "I want to talk to y'all," she said. I immediately listened, as this seemed to be a meeting, and I liked meetings. "I wanted to tell you that from now on, it's just going to be us." I didn't understand what my mom was trying to tell us. "What I'm saying is, your dad isn't going to live with us anymore." I was shocked. I knew it was because of their arguing. I completely understood that this decision was made because they weren't getting along, and it had nothing to do with the 3 of us being a problem. "We're going to move to another place, just us," she said. We were sad, and my mother tried to cheer us up. "We're the 4 Musketeers now, all for one and one for all," she said in an effort to raise our spirits. My mother didn't tell us the details of this change, but she made the move quickly. She was very clear about us protecting our family. I took this seriously. I took this into my adulthood. To this day, I fearlessly and ferociously protect my family. I am a private person and choose to share certain lessons, situations, and experiences that I've had in my life in hopes that they will resonate with others and help others. I have encountered things that people have said about my family that aren't true. You wouldn't believe what some people think they know about you and or your family, as if they were sitting at our Thanksgiving table or included in our house for Christmas. I've learned not to engage with dark-spirited individuals whose only aim is to cause problems, spread lies, and be a hindrance to my peace. My mother, Gwen Fox, my older sister, Tyron Perry, my younger sister, Jania Foxworth, and I, Jania Foxworth, are still the 4 Musketeers. We now have my niece, Kylina, my nephew, Michael, and my daughter, Gianna, all of which are 12 years apart, who are now added to the brigade. Family is important to me. I know my father loves me in his own way. My parents did what was best for all of us, and I'm thankful for it. I will admit, it ain't always peaches and cream. Sometimes we get on each other's nerves, and we might say something sassy about one another, but you better not. I will always believe in a strong family bond, and we are family. No matter what, we always find our way back to love. Short and sweet story. There's so much of this story that I left out because, like I said, I am private. I'm opening up now more than I have before. And I think that's just because life has kind of directed me in this direction. I am such a family-oriented person. And when my mother said we protect each other, when we have things in this house, we don't bring them up to other people and just tell everybody else our business. We don't do that. My mother has always been that way since we were very, very small children. So I don't know any other way. And still, the things that I choose to share it's not everything. It's not everything. It's really lessons that I've learned from just living. And I really do hope that it can help people. I'm on this app where it's other mothers, and sometimes we're talking. It's like we're all in a chat. You can hear us. We're speaking to each other. And sometimes we share stories. And when I started sharing some of my stories, that really did help some people. And that's one of the reasons why I even started Love, Life, and Lunatics, because I felt like stories that happened in my life or things that happened in my life helped me to learn certain things about myself, But I didn't necessarily need to share them with other people unless they wanted to know. I'm not someone that will force somebody to take my advice. If you don't want it, that's fine. I think maybe before I used to be that way because I knew that whatever I was saying at the time, if I was saying it, it was valuable because I had learned something from that. But as you get older, you could take it or leave it. It's not my thing to twist your arm and make you do anything. So even with this story, I edited this particular story a lot, more than any of the other ones. But I did tell the story, and it's interesting. One time this guy was telling someone how he knew us and that we grew up in LA on Slauson. And whoever I was talking to just really believed it. And I was like, I did not grow up on the east side. I grew up in the valley. So if you know about Los Angeles and over on the valley, San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, it's very different. It's completely different. It's almost two different worlds. People over there by the beach or super close to the beach. And then there's people in the valley. And it's very different. Different lifestyle, different a lot of things. So that was interesting. And then sometimes I'll read comments that people will write and freely talk about my mother or my sisters. And most of the time, I don't look at comments or I don't talk back to these people. But sometimes I do. Because I'm not here for that. It's like, can you imagine? It's your family and random people just are creating stories about your family. It's unsettling. It's strange. It's always strange. So I'm glad, and this is in my adult life, so I'm glad that when I was a child, my mother really instilled, you don't go around running your mouth about the family. You let them think whatever they want to think. This is our family. It has nothing to do with other people. Wow, I took that so seriously. And the children, my niece, my nephew, my daughter, they were all raised the same way. And Gianna will be raised the same way. There's too many people out there that will try to hurt you and try to disrupt your family. And it's not a good thing. It's best to keep certain things sacred and keep certain things for yourself and for your family. It's like a photo album. You only see that photo album when you go to that house, when you go in that house and you sit down. And you are invited to look at that photo album. You know what I'm saying? For myself, I made a conscious effort to go a little bit deeper because that's where the human connection is. Everything that we do is not perfect. And sometimes when you're dealing with certain things, you feel like you're the only one dealing with it. These stories I found connected with other people, and they were like, I did go through something similar to that. And then they share their stories with me, and then we have this moment of discussion, and you just feel like you're not so alone anymore, or if you ever felt like that. So it's nice to be able to share certain things, but if it's just I went to the post office and I stood in a long line, and I was so happy to just get there because it was 10 minutes before closing, and I stood in line, and finally I was able to. Nobody cares about that. Yes, people have gone through that, but for the most part, nobody cares about that. And maybe at that moment that was like annoying to you. That's not something that is a little bit deeper. You know what I mean? This one of the reasons why I shared this story, because I knew some people could benefit from it or just connect with it. And in this day and age of the internet, people want to do anything. They put out anything just for attention, just for clicks. Oh my gosh, it's like some of that stuff doesn't need to be out, especially if it's not about you, especially if it's, somebody else in your family. Maybe they didn't want that out, but now it's out and I see it and everybody sees it. That's not protecting your family. You need to keep certain things to yourself, and it's only accessible to you and your family. So yeah, that was Protect the Family. Thank you for listening to Love, Life, and Lunatics. Please share your thoughts about this podcast, and if you liked it, please like and share. I'd really appreciate it. Please check out my show notes in the description box for more information. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, see ya. And lunatics, baby.
Maybe things ain't always gonna be so